Australia's newest warship, HMAS Choules, is settling in its new home after making a majestic entrance to Sydney Harbour. The former British Bay-class landing ship fills a gap in local naval support, and it's been named in honour of the last veteran of both World Wars who died in Perth this year. Let's go now to reporter Ben Worsley, who's at the Garden Island Naval Base in Sydney. And Ben, impressive scenes on the harbour today.
Nicole, it still is. It's not an aesthetically impressive ship, but it more than makes up for that in size. It's simply enormous, and when it came through the Sydney Heads this morning and into Garden Island to its home port for the first time, it was indeed a very impressive sight. Standing next to it down below and then climbing what seems to be about 2,000 steps to get here, you do get a sense of the massive scale of this ship. It's 180 metres long, 16,000 tonnes in capacity. You might wonder how much a ship like this costs. Well, the Australian government bought it from the British government for $100 million. The Admiral of the Australian fleet, well, he insists that's a bargain.
I think it's the deal of the decade. It really is a fantastic capability, practically a brand new ship in very good material condition and with significant capability, some of which we've not had before in the Navy, and by that I mean a floodable dock.
And Ben, of course, this is a very special tribute to a British sailor who ultimately made Australia his home. And Ben, this is, of course, a very special tribute to a man who served in both World Wars.
Nicole, Claude Choules is that person. He died in May this year. He was 110. He was the oldest lived person in Australia at the time of his death, but more significantly, the last surviving combat veteran of World War I. He served in both World Wars, and like the ship that's been named after him, he served both the British and the Australian Navies. And naming it after a person is quite a departure for the Australian Navy. Obviously, there's the Ballarat, the Tobruk, the Sydney, the Melbourne, the Adelaide. Well, from what I've heard about Claude Choules today, you get the feeling he'd be quietly chuffed to have his name alongside this vessel.
And of course, Ben, and perhaps most importantly, what is this ship going to do?
Nicole, it's filling a gaping hole in Australia's amphibious capability. HMAS Manura and Kanimbla were retired, decommissioned earlier this year. This ship will effectively fulfil the role of those two much smaller ships. It's a transport and supply ship, so as well as the 150 crew, it can take 350 troops. 100 or so trucks, believe it or not, can fit underneath here, and it's got two barges inside to transport those troops and equipment to land wherever it might be deployed around the world. Most notably, when it was with the British Navy, it served in Haiti in the earthquake there early last year. That's the sort of role that the Australian Navy intends to use it for. Effectively, it's ready to go from today.
Ben Worsley on HMAS Choules. Thanks for joining us.